There are moments in life when the person standing beside you is the same person quietly weakening your future. Not every friend celebrates your growth, not every love protects your ambition, and not every professional alliance deserves your loyalty. History has shown that one of the most dangerous mistakes a person can make is choosing company over wisdom. Machiavelli understood that power is not only built by who you attract, but also by who you have the courage to leave behind. In this journey, you will discover the hidden games behind friendships, relationships, and work environments. You will learn why being alone can be safer than being surrounded by people who secretly drain your strength, manipulate your decisions, or limit your potential. This is not about becoming cold, but about becoming aware. If you want to understand the deeper rules of human behavior and protect your path from those who do not deserve a place in your life, subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and tell us in the comments which country you are watching from. Your presence here is part of this journey, and your perspective matters. Section 1. The wrong company. The greatest mistake many people make is believing that having people around them automatically means they are not alone. They confuse presence with loyalty, conversations with connection, and familiarity with trust. Machiavelli understood a truth that many people discover only after suffering the consequences. The wrong people around you can become a greater threat than having no one beside you. A person does not always lose because of enemies. Sometimes they lose because they allowed the wrong individuals to enter their inner circle. A false friend can destroy your confidence while pretending to support you. A harmful partner can slowly weaken your ambition while claiming to love you. A toxic colleague can damage your reputation while smiling in your face. The most dangerous influences are not always obvious. They often arrive disguised as affection, friendship, and opportunity. Machiavelli studied human behavior without illusions. He did not look at people only by their words, but by their actions, their interests, and their hidden motivations. He understood that many people remain close to you, not because they value you, but because they benefit from you. They enjoy your energy, your resources, your attention, your protection, or your success. But the moment your value changes, their loyalty can change with it. This is why the wise person learns to observe before trusting. Not everyone who laughs with you is happy for you. Not everyone who gives advice wants you to win. Some people offer guidance that keeps you dependent because your growth threatens their position. They do not want to see you become stronger because your strength exposes their weakness. A person who follows Machiavelli's principles does not hate others or isolate themselves from the world. Instead, they understand the importance of choosing carefully. Your environment shapes your thoughts, your decisions, and eventually your destiny. If you surround yourself with people who constantly complain, you may begin to accept limitation as normal. If you stay close to people who fear change, you may begin to fear your own potential. If you give your loyalty to people without principles, you may eventually pay the price for their mistakes. The uncomfortable truth is that some relationships survive only because one person continues to sacrifice themselves. Many people remain connected to others because they fear loneliness more than they fear damage. They accept disrespect because they are afraid of starting over. They tolerate manipulation because they remember the good moments. They ignore repeated signs because they hope someone will become the person they wanted them to be. But Machiavelli would argue that reality must be accepted as it is, not as we wish it would be. A person who refuses to see the truth becomes vulnerable to those who understand how to use emotions as a weapon. The need for acceptance can make intelligent people ignore obvious warnings. The desire to belong can make someone protect the very people who are slowly destroying their peace. There is power in walking away. There is strength in realizing that a smaller circle with genuine loyalty is more valuable than a large circle filled with hidden intentions. A person with discipline understands that access to their life is a privilege, not a right. Not everyone deserves to know your plans, your fears, your weaknesses, or your next move. In the world of power, Information is influence. The more people know about your vulnerabilities, the more opportunities they have to control you. This does not mean becoming paranoid or suspicious of everyone. It means developing awareness. A wise person does not reveal everything to everyone. They understand that trust must be earned through consistency, not demanded through words. The lonely path is sometimes the price of becoming stronger. Many successful people have experienced periods where they had to separate themselves from familiar faces to protect their future. The hardest decisions are often not about fighting enemies, but about accepting that some people you love, respect, or admire are not meant to continue the journey with you. Machiavelli would remind us that loyalty without judgment is not virtue, it is vulnerability. Giving endless chances to those who repeatedly harm you is not kindness. It is allowing someone else to control your destiny. Compassion has its place, but wisdom must guide compassion. The person who chooses carefully who stands beside them gains something more valuable than popularity. They gain peace, clarity, and control. Being alone for a period of time is far better than being surrounded by people who slowly take away your confidence, your focus, and your power. Because in the end, the question is not whether you have many people around you. The real question is whether the people around you are helping you become stronger or quietly preparing your downfall. Section 2. The hidden enemies among friends. Friendship is one of the greatest sources of strength in human life, but it can also become one of the greatest sources of deception. The person closest to you often has the greatest influence over your decisions, your emotions, and your confidence. This is why Machiavelli believed that understanding people was more important than simply trusting them. Many people believe enemies are easy to recognize because enemies attack openly. They criticize you, oppose you, and make their intentions clear. But hidden enemies are far more dangerous because they enter your life wearing the mask of friendship. They listen to your dream, learn your weaknesses, and gain access to parts of you that strangers could never reach. A false friend does not always try to destroy you immediately. Often, their influence works slowly. They discourage your ambitions with small comments. They make you question your abilities. They celebrate your failures more than your victories. They appear supportive, but their actions reveal discomfort when you grow beyond the level where they can control you. Machiavelli understood that people are often motivated by self-interest. This does not mean every person is evil, but it means every person has desires, fears, and personal goals. A wise individual recognizes this reality instead of creating a fantasy where everyone around them has pure intentions. One of the most dangerous types of friends is the person who wants you close, but not successful. They want your attention, your loyalty, and your support, but they become uncomfortable when your life improves. They may not openly attack you because they still benefit from your presence. Instead, they use subtle methods to keep you from rising. They might tell you that your goals are unrealistic. They might convince you to delay important decisions. They might constantly remind you of your past mistakes while ignoring your potential future. Their words may sound like concern, but sometimes concern is simply fear disguised as advice. A true friend challenges you because they want you to become stronger. A false friend limits you because your growth threatens their comfort. The difference is not always found in what they say. It is found in how they react when you begin changing. When you succeed, pay attention. Success reveals people more clearly than failure. During difficult times, many people know how to offer sympathy. But when you rise, achieve something meaningful, or receive recognition, their true feelings often appear. Some will celebrate with you genuinely. Others will become distant, critical, or strangely silent. Machiavelli would advise observing reactions, not promises. Words are easy to create, but behavior exposes reality. Anyone can claim loyalty when everything is convenient. The true test comes when your success creates distance between where you are and where they remain. Another dangerous mistake is sharing too much information with people who have not proven themselves. Many individuals reveal their plans, strategies, and personal struggles too early because they want emotional support. But information is power, and giving information to the wrong person can create unnecessary weaknesses. A person who knows your fears knows where to attack. A person who knows your ambitions knows what to sabotage. A person who knows your insecurities knows what words can hurt you. This is why wisdom requires boundaries. Not everyone who has access to your life should have access to your deepest thoughts. Machiavelli was not teaching people to live without relationships. He was teaching them to understand relationships. The difference is significant. A person without awareness becomes a victim of manipulation. A person with awareness can build alliances based on respect and mutual benefit. The strongest friendships are not built on dependence. They are built on strength. Two people who can stand independently create a more powerful connection than two people who need each other to survive. A friendship based on weakness eventually creates resentment, jealousy, and control. There comes a moment when every person must decide whether keeping certain friendships is worth the cost. Some connections belong to your past, not your future. Some people were meant to walk beside you during one chapter, but continuing together into another chapter may prevent your evolution. Walking away from the wrong people is not betrayal. Sometimes it is self-preservation. The person who protects their future must be willing to disappoint those who only benefited from their old version. Machiavelli would remind us that a ruler who wants to remain powerful cannot allow everyone into the palace. Access must be earned. The same principle applies to personal life. Your mind is your kingdom, your time is your resource, and your energy is your currency. Choose carefully who receives these treasures, because the greatest danger is not always having enemies outside your circle. Sometimes the greatest danger is allowing the wrong people to stand inside it. Section 3. Love, attachment, and losing yourself. Few things have the power to influence a person more deeply than love. A relationship can become a source of motivation, stability, and growth. But when love is mixed with manipulation, fear, and emotional dependence, it can become one of the strongest chains a person will ever experience. Machiavelli understood that human beings are often controlled by their emotions before they are controlled by logic. People can recognize danger in the outside world, yet ignore the warning signs when their heart is involved. This is why relationships require awareness. The person who has access to your emotions also has access to your decisions, your confidence, and sometimes your entire direction in life. Many people make the mistake of believing that love alone is enough to create a successful relationship. They believe strong feelings can overcome differences in values, lack of respect, or destructive behavior. But emotions without wisdom can lead a person into situations where they slowly lose themselves while trying to keep someone else happy. A relationship becomes dangerous when one person begins sacrificing their identity to maintain peace. They stop expressing opinions because disagreement creates conflict. They abandon goals because their partner feels threatened. They reduce their ambitions because success creates insecurity in the other person. Over time, they are no longer building a life together. They are simply shrinking themselves to fit someone else's expectations. Machiavelli would argue that power exists in every human interaction. In relationships, power is not about controlling another person. It is about understanding influence. The person who controls your emotions can influence your choices. The person who creates your fears can influence your behavior. The person who makes you constantly seek approval can slowly take control of your confidence. This is why emotional independence is essential. A person who cannot stand alone becomes vulnerable to accepting things they should never accept. They may tolerate disrespect because they fear abandonment. They may forgive repeated betrayal because they fear starting over. They may remain trapped in unhealthy situations because loneliness feels more frightening than unhappiness. But solitude is not the enemy. Sometimes being alone is the moment when a person finally hears their own thoughts again. It is when they remember their values, their goals, and their identity outside of another person's influence. Machiavelli understood that dependence creates weakness. When a person becomes completely dependent on another for happiness, validation, or purpose, they surrender a part of their power. A strong relationship should add to your life, not become the only reason your life has meaning. There are people who confuse possession with love. They believe controlling someone proves they care. They monitor, restrict, criticize, and manipulate, while claiming these actions come from affection. But genuine love does not require someone to lose their freedom. Real connection is built through respect, not fear. One of the most subtle forms of manipulation in relationships is guilt. A person may make you feel selfish for pursuing your goals. They may make you feel responsible for their emotions. They may convince you that your independence is a form of rejection. Slowly, you begin making choices based on avoiding their disappointment instead of following your own principles. A person guided by Machiavellian awareness learns to recognize these patterns. They understand that kindness does not mean surrendering their power. Loyalty does not mean accepting endless damage. Love does not mean allowing another person to destroy the foundation of who you are. The right partner does not fear your growth. They are not threatened by your success. They do not need you to become smaller so they can feel bigger. Instead, they understand that two strong individuals create a stronger connection than two people trapped by insecurity. The wrong partner will make you question your worth. The right partner will remind you of your value. The wrong partner will compete with your potential. The right partner will protect it. This does not mean relationships should be judged only during difficult moments. Every person has flaws, and every relationship requires patience. But there is a difference between accepting imperfections and ignoring patterns of disrespect. Wisdom comes from recognizing the difference. Machiavelli believed that appearances can deceive. Someone can say they love you while acting against your best interests. Someone can make promises while repeatedly breaking trust. This is why actions must always have greater importance than words. A person who chooses to leave a harmful relationship is not losing love. They are protecting themselves from a connection that no longer serves their future. Sometimes the most powerful decision is not fighting harder to keep someone. Sometimes it is having the courage to walk away. Being alone after losing a relationship can feel like failure, but often it is the beginning of rebuilding. It is the moment when a person takes back control over their emotions, their direction, and their identity. The lesson Machiavelli would leave us with is simple. Never give another person so much power over your heart that they can destroy your peace. The person who knows their own worth does not fear solitude. They understand that being alone is temporary, but losing yourself can become permanent. Section 4. The workplace game. The workplace is one of the clearest examples of human ambition, competition, and hidden intentions. Many people believe professional environments are based only on talent and hard work. But Machiavelli understood that success is also influenced by relationships, perception, and strategy. The person who ignores the human side of power often becomes vulnerable to those who understand it. In any organization, people have different goals. Some want recognition, some want influence, some want security, and some simply want to protect their own position. These motivations are not always visible. A colleague may appear friendly while secretly competing with you. A superior may praise your work while limiting your opportunities. A team member may support your ideas publicly while privately taking credit for them. Machiavelli studied the reality behind appearances. He understood that people often present themselves according to what benefits them. In professional environments, this happens constantly. Many individuals do not reveal their true intentions because maintaining a positive image gives them an advantage. This is why awareness is essential. A person who enters the workplace believing everyone is a friend may quickly become disappointed. Professional relationships should be built on respect, cooperation, and trust. But they should also be guided by observation. Not everyone who works beside you is working for your success. One of the biggest mistakes people make in their careers is confusing friendliness with loyalty. Someone can have pleasant conversations with you every day and still make decisions that damage your progress. They can compliment your abilities while hoping you remain unnoticed. They can encourage you while secretly waiting for you to fail. Machiavelli would say that a wise person watches patterns. A single action can be misunderstood, but repeated behavior reveals character. Who supports your ideas when others are watching? Who changes their attitude when you receive recognition? Who only appears when they need something from you? These questions reveal more than words ever could. The workplace also teaches an important lesson about information. Not every plan should be shared immediately. Not every ambition should be announced before it is prepared. Many people reveal their goals too early because they want approval, but premature exposure can create unnecessary obstacles. When people know your intentions, they may influence your decisions before you are ready. They may discourage you, compete with you, or use your ideas for their own advantage. A strategic person understands that silence can be a form of protection. This does not mean becoming secretive or impossible to work with. Success requires collaboration. However, collaboration does not require complete vulnerability. The strongest professionals know what to share, when to share it, and with whom it should be shared. Another dangerous situation occurs when people become too dependent on workplace relationships. They believe being liked is more important than being respected. They avoid necessary conversations because they fear rejection. They accept unfair treatment because they want to maintain approval. But approval is temporary. Respect is lasting. A person who constantly seeks acceptance may allow others to control their career. They may avoid opportunities because someone else feels threatened. They may stay silent when their contributions are ignored. They may sacrifice their future to maintain comfort in the present. Machiavelli understood that leaders and successful individuals must sometimes make unpopular decisions. The desire to please everyone creates weakness because it prevents decisive action. A person who wants everyone to approve of them often becomes controlled by everyone else's opinions. In professional life, being alone can sometimes be an advantage. The person who can work independently, think clearly, and make decisions without constant validation becomes harder to manipulate. They are not dependent on office politics to feel valuable. There is also a lesson about choosing allies. Not every alliance is based on friendship. Some professional relationships exist because two people share common interests and goals. This is not necessarily negative. Machiavelli understood that alliances are often built on mutual benefit. The mistake is expecting professional connections to operate like personal friendships. A colleague may cooperate with you today and compete with you tomorrow because circumstances change. A wise person understands this without becoming bitter. The goal is not to distrust everyone. The goal is to see clearly. A person who understands workplace dynamics protects their reputation, controls their emotions, and focuses on results. They avoid unnecessary conflicts, but they do not allow others to take advantage of their patience. They remain respectful, but they also maintain boundaries. The strongest professionals are not always the loudest people in the room. Often, they are the ones who observe carefully, speak with purpose, and move strategically. They understand that every environment has invisible rules, and those who recognize these rules have an advantage. Machiavelli would remind us that power is rarely given to those who simply deserve it. Power often goes to those who understand how people think, how decisions are made, and how influence is created. In the workplace, being surrounded by the wrong people can slow your growth, damage your reputation, and distract you from your goals. But choosing your connections wisely can transform your path. Because sometimes the smartest career decision is not finding more people to stand beside you. Sometimes it is learning who should no longer stand there. Section 5. the strength of walking alone. Throughout history, many people have feared being alone because society often teaches that isolation represents weakness. People are encouraged to always seek approval, maintain connections, and avoid separation at all costs. But Machiavelli understood something different. There are moments when walking alone is not a sign of failure. It is a sign that a person has gained enough awareness to protect their own future. The fear of solitude has caused many individuals to remain connected to people who weaken them. They accept disrespect because they fear losing companionship. They tolerate manipulation because they fear uncertainty. They stay in environments that limit their potential because starting again feels too difficult. But a person who values their growth must understand that comfort can become a prison. Familiar faces can create a false sense of security while quietly preventing transformation. Sometimes the greatest obstacle in a person's life is not a lack of opportunity. It is the presence of people who encourage them to remain the same. Machiavelli believed that strength comes from understanding reality, not escaping from it. Reality is that not everyone who begins the journey with you will be prepared to continue when your goals become bigger. Some people are comfortable with your current version because it benefits them. They appreciate the person you are today, but resist the person you are becoming. This is why separation is sometimes necessary. Growth requires change, and change often creates distance. When a person begins improving their mindset, developing discipline, and pursuing higher goals, their relationships may naturally shift. The people who once felt comfortable with them may no longer understand their choices. Many people interpret this distance as a loss, but sometimes it is a protection. Losing access to people who constantly drain your energy creates space for clarity. Removing distractions creates room for focus. Ending unhealthy connections creates the possibility of building stronger ones. A Machiavellian perspective does not view solitude as sadness. It views solitude as preparation. The person who can stand alone develops something extremely valuable: independence. They learn to make decisions without needing constant approval. They learn to trust their judgment. They learn that their worth is not determined by how many people surround them. A person who cannot be alone may become easy to control. They may change their opinions to fit the group. They may abandon their values to avoid rejection. They may allow others to define their identity. But the person who is comfortable with solitude becomes difficult to manipulate because they no longer depend on external validation. This does not mean rejecting all relationships. Human beings need connection. Even Machiavelli understood the importance of alliances and partnerships. The difference is that strong individuals choose relationships from a position of power, not desperation. When you choose people because you genuinely value them, the relationship becomes healthier. When you choose people because you fear being alone, the relationship becomes a weakness. The strongest individuals are not those who never need anyone. They are those who can appreciate others without losing themselves. They can love without becoming dependent. They can cooperate without surrendering control over their own lives. Machiavelli would also remind us that solitude reveals character. When there is no audience, no praise, and no external motivation, who are you? Can you continue moving forward without someone constantly encouraging you? Can you remain committed when nobody is watching? These moments of isolation often create the greatest transformations. A person discovers their discipline, their resilience, and their ability to survive difficult seasons. They learn that they are capable of more than they previously believed. Many powerful people throughout history experienced periods where they had to separate themselves from others to think clearly and rebuild. They used solitude as a strategic advantage. Without constant opinions and distractions, they gained a clearer vision of what they wanted and who they needed to become. The modern world encourages constant connection, but constant connection does not always create progress. Sometimes silence provides answers that noise hides. Sometimes distance reveals truths that closeness prevents us from seeing. The person who fears losing people will always be controlled by the possibility of abandonment. The person who accepts that some people must leave becomes free. Freedom comes from understanding that your path cannot depend on everyone staying. Some people will leave because they were only meant to be part of one chapter. Some will leave because your growth challenges their comfort. Some will leave because they were never truly committed to your success. The wise person does not chase everyone who walks away. They observe, accept, and continue moving forward. Machiavelli would teach that protecting your future requires difficult choices. A leader cannot carry everyone into victory. A person cannot build a stronger life while holding on to everything that weakens them. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is creating distance. Sometimes the greatest display of confidence is moving forward without applause. And sometimes the person who stands alone for a period of time discovers the most important truth of all. They were never truly abandoned. They were finally given the opportunity to become who they were meant to be. Section 6. The Art of Choosing Your Circle. A person's future is often shaped by the people they allow closest to them. Every conversation, every influence, and every relationship leaves a mark. Whether people realize it or not, they absorb the attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors of those around them. Machiavelli understood that a person does not rise or fall alone. The company they keep can become either a foundation for success or a hidden reason for failure. Many people choose their circle based on comfort instead of wisdom. They stay connected to people they have known for years, even when those relationships no longer match their direction. History, memories, and emotional attachment can make people ignore what is happening in the present. They protect old connections simply because they are familiar, not because they are valuable. Machiavelli would argue that loyalty without judgment is dangerous. Loyalty is often seen as a virtue, but blind loyalty can become a weakness. A person who remains devoted to those who repeatedly harm their progress is not demonstrating strength. They are allowing emotions to override awareness. Choosing your circle requires understanding the difference between people who challenge you and people who limit you. The right people do not always make you comfortable. Sometimes they question your decisions, expose your weaknesses, and push you beyond your current abilities. But their intention is growth, not control. The wrong people often do the opposite. They protect your comfort because your improvement creates distance between you. They tell you what you want to hear because honesty would require them to confront reality. They encourage your excuses because your transformation would force them to look at their own lack of action. One of the most important lessons from Machiavelli is that intentions are often hidden, but results reveal the truth. A person can speak about friendship, loyalty, and support, but the consequences of their influence tell the real story. After spending time with someone, do you feel stronger or weaker? More focused or more distracted? More confident or more uncertain? These questions reveal the impact of your environment. A wise person understands that every relationship has a cost. Time spent with someone is time removed from something else. Energy given to one person cannot always be recovered. Attention invested in the wrong people can delay your goals and reduce your ability to move forward. This is why powerful individuals protect their access. They understand that not everyone deserves unlimited time, trust, and emotional investment. Their kindness remains, but their boundaries become stronger. Boundaries are often misunderstood because many people associate them with rejection. But boundaries are not walls designed to punish others. They are rules designed to protect what matters. A person without boundaries allows others to decide how much of their energy they can take. Machiavelli recognized that those who understand human nature are harder to manipulate. Manipulation often begins when someone discovers what you fear losing. If they know you fear loneliness, they can use that fear to keep you attached. If they know you seek approval, they can control you through acceptance and rejection. But when a person accepts that losing certain relationships is sometimes necessary, they become free from that control. The strongest circle is not always the largest one. A small group of people with integrity, discipline, and loyalty is more valuable than a crowd of people who disappear when circumstances change. Quality creates strength. Quantity often creates illusion. Many people spend years trying to impress people who would never support them. They chase acceptance from individuals who do not respect their ambition. They adjust themselves to fit environments where they were never meant to belong. Machiavelli would remind us that a person must know their own value before expecting others to recognize it. If you constantly seek permission to grow, you will always depend on the approval of those who may not understand your vision. Your circle should reflect the person you are becoming, not only the person you have been. The future requires different decisions, different habits, and sometimes different relationships. This is one of the hardest realities to accept. Some people are not removed from your life because they are terrible. Sometimes they simply no longer belong in the next stage of your journey. Growth creates separation because not everyone is willing to evolve at the same pace. The mature person understands this without hatred. They can appreciate what someone contributed in the past while accepting that the future requires a different path. Machiavelli never advised wasting energy fighting every person who stands against you. He understood that attention is a resource. A person who spends all their time battling negativity gives power to those who want to distract them. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence. Sometimes the strongest move is distance. Sometimes victory comes not from defeating someone, but from removing their influence over your life. Your circle is not just a collection of people. It is an environment that shapes your mindset, your decisions, and your destiny. Choose carefully, because the people closest to you are not simply watching your journey. They are helping create it. Section 7. The price of trusting too easily. Trust is one of the most valuable elements in any relationship, but it is also one of the most dangerous when given without judgment. Many people believe that being trusting makes them a good person. They associate openness with kindness and vulnerability with honesty. But Machiavelli understood that trust without awareness can become an invitation for others to take advantage of you. The world does not always reward the person with the purest intentions. Sometimes it rewards the person who understands human behavior the best. This does not mean becoming cruel or suspicious of everyone. It means recognizing that people have different motivations, and not every person who enters your life has your best interests in mind. One of the greatest weaknesses a person can have is believing that everyone thinks the same way they do. Honest people often assume others are honest. Loyal people often assume others are loyal. Compassionate people often believe others act with compassion. But human beings are not all guided by the same principles. Machiavelli studied this reality deeply. He understood that appearances could be misleading. Someone can present themselves as trustworthy while secretly pursuing their own advantage. Someone can speak about loyalty while waiting for the perfect moment to benefit from your mistakes. This is why wisdom requires patience. Trust should not be based only on words. Words are easy to create, especially when someone wants something from you. A person can promise support, friendship, or commitment in a single conversation, but only time reveals whether those promises have real value. A wise person observes consistency. How does someone behave when there is nothing to gain? How do they treat people who cannot help them? How do they react when someone else succeeds? How do they behave when they disagree with you? These moments reveal character. Many people make the mistake of giving access too quickly. They share personal information, reveal their plans, and expose their weaknesses before someone has proven they deserve that level of trust. They believe closeness automatically creates loyalty, But sometimes closeness only gives the wrong person more opportunities to influence them. Machiavelli understood that knowledge creates power. The information people have about you can become a tool they use either to support you or to control you. Your fears, your insecurities, your ambitions, and your emotional weaknesses should not be placed in the hands of people who have not demonstrated respect. This principle applies to friendships, relationships, and professional connections. In every area of life, information must be handled carefully. A person who reveals everything immediately often believes they are creating a deeper connection. But true connection is not created by exposing every part of yourself to everyone. True connection is created when someone proves they can handle what you reveal. Trust should be built gradually, like a foundation. If a building has a weak foundation, it does not matter how beautiful it looks from the outside. Eventually, the weakness will be exposed. Relationships work the same way. Another dangerous illusion is believing that history guarantees loyalty. Many people defend harmful relationships by saying, "But we have known each other for years." They believe time alone proves someone deserves trust. But years of familiarity do not automatically create character. Someone can know you for decades and still fail to respect you. Someone can share many memories with you and still become a source of damage. The length of a relationship matters less than the quality of behavior within it. Machiavelli would encourage people to look beyond emotional attachment and examine reality. Are you keeping someone close because they add value to your life? Or because you are afraid to let go? Are you protecting a relationship because it is healthy? Or because you are attached to the memories connected to it? These questions are uncomfortable, but they reveal truth. The person who trusts everyone eventually becomes controlled by everyone. They become predictable because others learn what influences them. They become vulnerable because they refuse to recognize human complexity. But the person who understands trust as something earned becomes stronger. They can build meaningful relationships while protecting themselves from unnecessary harm. This is not about creating distance from the world. It is about creating standards for who gets close to you. Machiavelli understood that power comes from control over yourself before control over anything else. If your emotions force you to trust blindly, other people can use those emotions against you. But if your judgment guides your emotions, you become much harder to manipulate. The strongest people are not those who never trust. They are those who know exactly who deserves their trust. They understand that trust is not something you give because someone asks for it. It is something someone earns through actions, consistency, and time. Because in the game of human relationships, the greatest mistake is not having enemies. The greatest mistake is giving the wrong person the keys to your life. Section 8. When loyalty becomes a weakness. Loyalty is often considered one of the greatest virtues a person can possess. Society teaches us to stay committed, to never abandon those who have been part of our journey, and to remain faithful even during difficult moments. But Machiavelli understood that every virtue, when taken to an extreme, can become a weakness. Loyalty without wisdom can destroy the very person who practices it. Many people believe that loyalty means enduring everything. They accept disrespect, betrayal, and repeated disappointment because they believe leaving would make them a bad person. They confuse commitment with self-destruction. They protect relationships that no longer protect them. Machiavelli would challenge this idea by asking a simple question. What is the purpose of loyalty if it leads to your own downfall? A person must understand that loyalty is valuable only when it exists between people who respect its meaning. Giving endless devotion to someone who constantly takes advantage of you does not create a stronger bond. It creates an imbalance where one person gives and the other person consumes. This imbalance can appear in friendships, romantic relationships, and professional environments. One person always sacrifices, always understands, always forgives, while the other person continues taking without appreciation. Over time, loyalty stops being a virtue and becomes a weakness that others learn how to exploit. Machiavelli studied human nature and understood that people often continue behaviors that benefit them. If someone discovers that they can mistreat you without consequences, they may continue doing so, not always because they are intentionally evil, but because human beings often adapt to the limits that others allow. This is why boundaries are essential. A person who has no boundaries teaches others that their patience has no value. They show that forgiveness will always be available, that disrespect will always be tolerated, and that their presence will always remain guaranteed. But when someone understands their own worth, their approach changes. They can forgive without forgetting. They can care without accepting destruction. They can remain kind without becoming easy to manipulate. Machiavelli would argue that a wise person does not make decisions based only on emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they can create blindness. A person may stay loyal to someone because of memories, history, or attachment, while ignoring the reality of who that person has become. The past explains a relationship, but it does not always justify the future. One of the hardest lessons in life is accepting that someone who was valuable in one chapter may become harmful in another. People change, circumstances change, goals change. Sometimes the person you once needed is the person you now need distance from. Many people struggle with this because they feel guilty for choosing themselves. They believe protecting their peace is selfish. But Machiavelli understood that survival requires self-preservation. A person who destroys themselves trying to save every relationship eventually has nothing left to offer anyone. There is a difference between abandoning people and recognizing when a connection has reached its limit. Abandonment comes from selfishness. Wisdom comes from understanding when continued loyalty creates more damage than benefit. This principle is especially important in professional life. Many employees remain loyal to companies, leaders, or teams that would replace them without hesitation. They give years of dedication while ignoring that organizations often make decisions based on interest and necessity. Machiavelli would advise understanding the reality of incentives. People and institutions often act according to what benefits them. Expecting unconditional loyalty from a system designed around results can create disappointment. This does not mean becoming disloyal. It means understanding the relationship clearly. Give your best, but do not lose yourself. Contribute, but do not surrender your identity. Build alliances, but remember that your future belongs to you. The same principle applies to personal relationships. Love and friendship should be chosen, not forced. A person should remain because they value the connection, not because they fear the consequences of leaving. The strongest people are capable of walking away from situations that no longer align with their values. They understand that every decision has a cost, but remaining in the wrong place often has a greater one. Machiavelli would remind us that power comes from the ability to make difficult choices. Anyone can stay when things are comfortable. Real strength appears when someone has the courage to leave what is familiar in order to protect what matters. Your loyalty is a valuable resource. Do not spend it where it is constantly wasted. Do not offer your dedication to those who only appreciate you when you are useful. Do not sacrifice your future to preserve a connection that has already stopped honoring you. The wise person does not become cold. They become selective. They understand that loyalty should be given to those who demonstrate loyalty in return. Because the greatest betrayal is not always someone else hurting you. Sometimes, the greatest betrayal is abandoning yourself to keep someone else satisfied. Section 9. The wisdom of selective relationships. One of the greatest lessons Machiavelli teaches is that power is not only about gaining influence, it is also about protecting what you already possess. Your time, your energy, your reputation, and your peace are valuable resources. The people you allow into your life have direct access to these resources, which is why choosing relationships carefully is one of the most important decisions a person can make. Many people focus on attracting more connections, but they rarely consider the quality of those connections. They believe having many friends, many contacts, or many people around them represents success. But Machiavelli understood that quantity often creates an illusion of strength. A large circle filled with unreliable people can become more dangerous than a small circle built on trust and respect. The wise person does not measure their relationships by how many names they can mention. They measure them by the quality of influence those people have on their life. Every person around you contributes something. They either strengthen your mindset or weaken it. They either encourage discipline or promote excuses. They either push you toward growth or keep you attached to comfort. This influence is often subtle. People rarely change because of one conversation. They change because of repeated exposure. The ideas you hear constantly become the beliefs you accept. The behaviors you witness repeatedly become the standards you normalize. This is why Machiavelli would emphasize awareness of your environment. A person cannot constantly surround themselves with negativity and expect to remain unaffected. A person cannot stay close to people who avoid responsibility and expect their own ambition to remain untouched. Your environment trains you. A person who spends time with those who think strategically begins to think differently. A person who spends time with those who pursue excellence begins to value improvement. A person who spends time with those who accept failure as normal may eventually lower their own expectations. The challenge is that not every harmful influence looks harmful at first. Some people bring comfort, entertainment, and familiarity, but they quietly prevent growth. They do not necessarily attack your dreams. Instead, they make you comfortable enough to stop chasing them. Machiavelli understood that comfort can be one of the greatest obstacles to progress. A person who is too comfortable has little reason to change. Sometimes the people closest to us become the reason we remain exactly where we are. This is why selective relationships require courage. Choosing better people often means leaving behind certain connections. It means accepting that some conversations no longer inspire you. Some environments no longer represent your values. Some relationships no longer match your direction. Many people avoid this because they fear being judged. They worry others will call them arrogant, distant, or different. But growth often requires becoming comfortable with being misunderstood. Machiavelli would remind us that those who seek approval from everyone often lose control over their own decisions. A person who constantly worries about others' opinions becomes easy to influence. And the ability to stand by your choices is a form of power. This does not mean treating people as disposable. It means recognizing that every relationship has a purpose, and not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some people come into your life to teach you something. Some come to support a specific stage of your journey. Some simply reveal the importance of choosing more carefully. The mature person appreciates the lesson without forcing the relationship to continue. Another important aspect of selective relationships is understanding reciprocity. Healthy connections are not based on one person constantly giving, while another constantly receives. They are built on mutual respect, shared effort, and genuine interest. A relationship without balance eventually creates resentment. One person feels used, while the other becomes comfortable taking. Machiavelli understood that unequal relationships often become unstable because human beings eventually react when they feel exploited. This applies to every area of life. In friendship, both people should contribute. In love, both people should protect the relationship. In work, both sides should understand the value they exchange. The person who understands this does not chase people who do not appreciate them. They do not beg for attention. They do not compete for a place in someone's life. They recognize that their value does not decrease because someone fails to see it. Machiavelli would say that a person must protect their position. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, ignores your contribution, or creates unnecessary chaos, allowing them constant access gives them influence over your life. Sometimes, the strongest decision is not confrontation. It is simply removing access. Silence, distance, and discipline can accomplish what arguments never will. The person who chooses relationships wisely gains more than companionship. They gain a stronger foundation for their future. They create a network of people who challenge them, support them, and respect the path they are building. At the end of the day, life is shaped by decisions, and one of the most important decisions is deciding who deserves a place beside you. Because the people closest to you are not just witnesses to your story, they are part of the force that determines how your story unfolds. Section 10, the final lesson of walking alone. The greatest lesson Machiavelli leaves us is not about rejecting people. It is about understanding value. A person who knows their worth does not allow anyone to enter their life without consideration. They understand that relationships can create strength, but the wrong relationships can quietly destroy everything they're trying to build. Being alone is not the same as being defeated. Sometimes solitude is the necessary space where a person discovers their own strength. It is where they rebuild their confidence, sharpen their judgment, and remember that their identity was never meant to depend completely on the approval of others. Many people spend their lives afraid of losing connections. They hold on to friendships that no longer represent them. They remain in relationships that weaken their spirit. They stay in professional environments where their potential is ignored. They do this because they believe having someone beside them is better than standing alone. But Machiavelli would challenge this belief. The wrong company can create more damage than loneliness. A person surrounded by those who envy them, manipulate them, or limit them may appear connected while internally becoming weaker every day. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is accepting that certain people cannot continue with you into the future. Life is a constant process of selection. As you grow, your priorities change. Your vision becomes clearer. Your standards become higher. The people who once matched your old mindset may no longer fit the person you are becoming. This is not cruelty. This is evolution. The wise person understands that every relationship must be evaluated by its impact. Does this person bring clarity or confusion? Strength or weakness? Growth or limitation? Peace or constant conflict? These questions reveal what emotions often try to hide. Machiavelli taught that appearances can deceive, and this lesson remains powerful in modern life. Not everyone who smiles with you is loyal. Not everyone who praises you wants your success. Not everyone who says they care will protect your future. This is why awareness is more valuable than blind trust. A person who understands human nature does not become bitter. They become prepared. They continue to love, connect, and build relationships, but they do so with wisdom. They no longer give unlimited access to people who have not earned it. The goal is not to walk through life alone forever. The goal is to become strong enough that you never stay with the wrong people simply because you fear being alone. True power begins when you realize that your peace is more valuable than temporary comfort. Your future is more important than old attachments. Your potential is more important than the opinions of those who cannot see it. The person who masters this lesson becomes difficult to manipulate. They cannot be controlled by fear of abandonment because they understand their own value. They cannot be destroyed by rejection because they know that losing the wrong people creates space for better opportunities. Machiavelli would remind us that a person must protect their kingdom. Your mind is your kingdom. Your time is your territory. Your energy is your wealth. Be careful who you allow to influence these things. Choose friends who respect your ambition. Choose partners who support your growth. Choose professional alliances that strengthen your path. And when someone repeatedly proves they do not belong, have the courage to step away. Because sometimes the person standing beside you is not helping you reach your destination. Sometimes they are the reason you have not arrived yet. The final lesson is simple. It is better to walk alone toward greatness than to walk with others toward your own destruction. A person who understands this does not fear solitude. They understand that being alone for a moment is far better than losing themselves forever. My personal perspective. After everything we explored about Machiavelli's ideas, I believe the greatest lesson is not about becoming a person who trusts nobody. It is about learning to choose wisely. In my view, the people around us influence our mindset, our decisions, and even the future we create. A good relationship can make us stronger, but the wrong relationship can slowly take away our confidence, focus, and peace. However, I also believe we should be careful not to see enemies everywhere. Not everyone is trying to harm us. Some people genuinely support our growth, and recognizing those people is just as important as knowing when to walk away. The real power is balance. Trust, but observe. Love, but keep your identity. Help others, but do not destroy yourself trying to save everyone. At the end of the day, the question is not only who is standing beside you, but also who you are becoming because of them. And you, what do you think? Is it better to walk alone than stay with people who limit your potential? Or do you believe every relationship deserves another chance? Share your opinion in the comments, because your perspective might make someone else see their own situation differently.